There is a moment right before the breakthrough, when everything seems uncertain, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the signal because before the door opens, before the blessing pours in, before what you've been praying for finally manifests, there's a shift, a tremor, a spark in your consciousness. And that, my friend, is the signal from God. Pause, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like something was falling apart, but deep down something told you it's actually coming together, that confusion, that inner tension, that pull towards something unknown but strangely familiar? That's not chaos. That's not coincidence. That is alignment. That's the universe, God, intelligence, source, the divine, rearranging your life for the next level. The signs when God is about to open a door, He doesn't shout. He doesn't send fireworks, He sends signs, and you feel it in the field of your being. Let me show you what to look for. 1. Discomfort that won't let you stay the same suddenly. The old way just doesn't fit. The job you once loved feels hollow. The relationship you once fought for now feels like chains. The version of you that worked so hard to survive no longer wants to. You're not broken, you're evolving. That's the divine intelligence within you making the familiar so uncomfortable. You're forced to grow. 2. Synchronicities begin to multiply. You hear the same phrase 3 times in 1 week. You meet the right person at the exact right moment. You have a dream that feels more real than waking life. These are not accidents. These are coordinates, breadcrumbs. And when you follow them with intention, doors begin to unlock that logic cannot explain. 3. A deep inner urge to let go. There comes a moment when you're no longer afraid to release. You're not clinging, you're not chasing, you're finally trusting, and that trust, that surrender, is the frequency that attracts what you've been praying for. Because the door doesn't open when you're trying to force it. It opens when you're aligned with the truth of who you really are. 4. Silence before the shift. You might feel alone. Friends distance, plans stall. Momentum pauses. Don't confuse this silence for rejection. This is the incubation phase. This is the breath before the wind changes. This is where your internal world prepares for the new reality God is creating through you. The invitation. So if you're feeling the discomfort, if you're noticing the synchronicities, if you're waking up in the middle of the night with a whisper that says, there's more, listen. Because when God is about to open a door, He doesn't just give you a key. He makes you the key, and your transformation is what unlocks the next dimension of your life. When discomfort shows up in your life, it's easy to mislabel it as a problem, a failure, or a sign that something has gone wrong. But in truth, discomfort is often the very first signal that transformation is underway. It's the divine intelligence within you pushing against the limits of your current identity, asking you to expand beyond the familiar. When what once felt comfortable now feels restrictive, when your routines no longer inspire you, and when your surroundings begin to feel out of sync with your inner world, it's not a sign to retreat, it's a call to evolve. This discomfort doesn't come as punishment, it comes as preparation. It's designed to move you out of stagnation and into motion. The friction you feel is the soul's way of generating enough energy to initiate change. It's like the tension before a bow is released, or the pressure that builds before a seed breaks through the soil. You can't step into a new version of yourself while clinging to the conditions that supported the old one. Something has to give, and often, it's your tolerance for staying small. This is why discomfort is not just a signal. It's a gift. It breaks your patterns. It awakens your senses. It forces you to ask deeper questions about your purpose, your path, and your potential. While the rational mind may interpret this as instability, your higher self knows this is alignment in progress. Your nervous system might resist, but your spirit recognizes the invitation. The very fact that you are noticing the discomfort means you're becoming aware, and awareness is the first step toward change. When everything safe starts to feel tight, it's because your soul is outgrowing your circumstances. And in that moment, you are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary. Synchronicities are not coincidences. They are precise, intelligent alignments orchestrated by a greater force moving through your life. When you begin to notice repeating numbers, chance encounters, recurring messages, or seemingly random events that line up perfectly, you're witnessing the divine at work. These moments are not random. They're signs that your internal world is beginning to resonate with a higher frequency, and that frequency is attracting experiences, people, and opportunities that align with your next level of evolution. What often feels like luck or chance is actually the manifestation of coherence between your thoughts, your emotions, and the greater field of intelligence that surrounds and connects all things. When you're aligned, when your heart and mind are in harmony, life responds with precision. You think of someone and they call. You imagine a possibility, and suddenly doors begin to open in that direction. These are not tricks of the mind, they are evidence of alignment. The universe, or God, uses synchronicity as a language, and only those who are awake to their inner world can truly interpret its meaning. Synchronicities tend to accelerate when you're close to a breakthrough. They cluster, they intensify, they begin to appear so frequently that you can no longer dismiss them. This is how you know you're in rhythm with something greater than logic or linear time. It's a state where the seen and unseen converge, and the more you notice these signs, the more they appear because your awareness amplifies them. It's not about chasing them, it's about tuning into the frequency where they live, and that frequency is not outside of you. It rises within you as you align with truth, clarity, and intention. Every synchronicity is a marker on the path, a cosmic confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. Letting go is one of the clearest signs that a breakthrough is near, not because you've given up, but because you've finally stopped resisting. There's a moment in the process of transformation where the energy you once used to control, to force, and to figure everything out begins to dissolve. What takes its place is not passivity, it's power. The power of surrender. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you release your attachment to how things must unfold. It's the shift from gripping tightly to trusting deeply. This surrender is not weakness. It's alignment. When you let go, you're stepping out of the mind's limited perception and into the vast intelligence of the divine. You stop trying to push the river, and instead you allow yourself to flow with it. In that space, something opens. Possibilities emerge that you couldn't have calculated. Resources show up that you didn't know existed. Clarity comes not through effort, but through presence. And presence can only arise when you release the need to control every outcome. Letting go is often preceded by exhaustion, not just physical, but spiritual. The path of trying, forcing, and overthinking eventually wears out its usefulness. That's when the deeper wisdom arises, the part of you that already knows you are held, guided, and supported. You release your grip not because you've lost hope, but because you've gained trust. Trust in timing, trust in guidance, trust that what's meant for you is not created through anxiety, but through alignment. In the stillness that follows letting go, things begin to move, not chaotically, but with order. The divine steps in when the ego steps back, and in that moment you're no longer chasing the door. You've become the space where the door appears. Silence before a shift can feel like emptiness, like a pause in your life where nothing seems to move forward. Plans stall, people grow distant, doors that once opened easily now feel locked. It's tempting in this space to believe that you've taken a wrong turn or that something within you has lost its way. But this silence is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the sacred void between who you were and who you're becoming. Before any major transformation, there is always a stillness. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is being rearranged at a level beyond what the eyes can see. This silence can be uncomfortable, especially for those who are used to constant motion and noise as signs of progress. Yet it is in this quiet, in this pause, that the deepest rewiring occurs. Just like the earth is quiet before it trembles, or the sky stills before the storm shifts the atmosphere, your life is calibrating for something bigger. The silence is not the absence of movement. It is movement happening in another dimension, preparing the next chapter in such detail that even the slightest premature action could disrupt its perfection. It's in these moments that you're invited to go inward, to listen more closely, to attune to subtle energies that don't shout, but whisper. When outer life grows quiet, inner life begins to speak. You may begin to dream more vividly, feel more deeply, or notice intuitive nudges that were drowned out by previous noise. It's not the time to panic or push, it's the time to become still enough to receive. You're being tuned to a new frequency, one that matches the future that's already forming. And once the silence has done its work, movement returns, but with greater clarity, direction, and power. Inner tension is not a sign that you're broken. It's a signal that your current reality can no longer contain your potential. When the life you've built starts to feel too small for the person you're becoming, tension rises. You may feel restless, irritable, uncertain, or even anxious without knowing exactly why. That tension is not there to punish you, it's there to stretch you. It's the pressure point between what is and what could be. It marks the space where your identity is dissolving, so a new one can emerge. This tension often arrives when you're on the edge of a breakthrough, even if you can't see the evidence yet. Your mind may try to interpret it as something going wrong, but your spirit knows better. It's the friction that occurs when your inner world starts shifting faster than your external circumstances can keep up. The more you resist it, the more intense it becomes, but when you lean in, when you recognize that this discomfort is a part of growth, everything begins to change. You stop judging yourself for feeling off and start understanding that you're simply outgrowing the old narrative. Inner tension is a sacred signal. It's how the body speaks when the soul is rising. It's the discomfort of expansion, like a snake shedding its skin or a caterpillar dissolving in its cocoon. It's the energetic turbulence that comes when your old belief systems can no longer support the vision being planted within you. And while it may feel disorienting, it's actually a sign that you're deeply alive, fully present in the birthing process of a new chapter. It means you're not asleep, you're engaged, aware, awake, and in that space of friction, transformation is not just possible, it's already underway. When God is preparing to open a door in your life, He often begins by shifting your reality in subtle but undeniable ways. At first, it might feel like things are falling apart, relationships begin to fade, long-held plans unravel, familiar environments start to feel foreign. But what appears as disruption is actually divine design. These shifts are not random. They are precise, intentional movements, clearing space for something greater to emerge. The structures of your current life are being rearranged not to harm you, but to align you with what you've been asking for on a soul level. Often, the prayers we send up don't come with instant answers. They come with opportunities for alignment, and alignment requires change. God doesn't just give you a new door, He prepares you to walk through it. That preparation begins by removing what cannot come with you. The people, habits, beliefs, and environments that are incompatible with your next level start to exit your life, sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly. Either way, it's all sacred, because if it stayed, it would keep you tethered to an outdated version of yourself. This divine shift can feel disorienting because it defies logic. The mind wants to cling to what's familiar, but the soul is calling you forward. You may feel suspended between what was and what will be, standing in a space where the old no longer fits and the new has not fully arrived. This is the divine intersection. It's not chaos, it's calibration. It's God tuning your life to a frequency that matches what you've been prepared to receive. You're not being pushed into the unknown. You're being invited into alignment. Every shift is a message. Every closing is a setup. And every disruption is clearing the path for what's already on its way. Before a new door opens, old patterns begin to dissolve. These patterns, thoughts, habits, emotional loops, ways of reacting, start to feel heavy, unnatural, or even exhausting. What once felt automatic suddenly becomes uncomfortable. It's as if your inner system no longer tolerates the behavior that once kept you feeling safe. This isn't failure or regression. It's the quiet dismantling of the structures that can't support your next level. You may find yourself questioning why certain things no longer satisfy you, why certain people feel draining, or why you're suddenly aware of habits you've lived with for years. This is evidence that a deeper intelligence within you is awakening. Old patterns are often rooted in survival, formed in response to fear, past trauma, or conditioning from your environment. They served a purpose, but they're not designed to go with you where you're headed. So, as your consciousness expands and your spirit begins to rise, those patterns must loosen their grip. This isn't always a graceful process. Sometimes it feels like emotional chaos, internal conflict, or mental fog. But these are signs of rewiring, not regression. Your system is learning how to function without the old programming. During this phase, it's important to observe without judgment. Recognize the pattern as it arises and see it not as a flaw, but as a familiar echo making its final appearance. You're not being tested, you're being transformed. The more aware you become of what no longer resonates, the more space you create for what does. And in that space, the energy that was once tied up in outdated responses becomes fuel for new alignment. This is the quiet undoing that precedes the open door, the sacred clearing that allows your true self to step forward without the weight of the past pulling you back. You don't receive the key to your next chapter by waiting for external change. You become the key through internal transformation. The shift doesn't happen outside of you first, it begins within. When God is about to open a door, He doesn't just change your circumstances. He changes you. He invites you to become the version of yourself that is capable of walking through that door and sustaining what waits on the other side. It's not about striving harder or chasing more, it's about aligning deeper. The preparation is always internal before the manifestation becomes external. This becoming often looks like confronting your own patterns, healing your wounds, and shedding the beliefs that no longer serve you. You begin to notice what you've tolerated for too long, where you've settled, and where you've given your power away. Through awareness, you start to reclaim the pieces of yourself that were fragmented by fear, doubt, and external validation. And with each reclaimed piece, you step more fully into who you truly are. This is the work that unlocks doors. You don't have to force the opportunity. You don't have to chase the next big thing. What's meant for you is drawn to the frequency you embody. As you rise in awareness, clarity, and self-trust, what's aligned with that new level begins to meet you. The door appears not as a destination, but as a reflection. It opens because you've become the one who's ready to walk through it. The energy you cultivate within becomes the access point. This is why inner work is never wasted time. It's sacred architecture. The door isn't just something you walk through, it's something you awaken by becoming. You are not waiting on the door is waiting on your arrival into the version of you it was built for. Faith is not just a passive hope, it is an active recalibration of your entire being. When God is about to open a door, faith shifts your frequency to match the reality you desire. It's a powerful energy that moves beyond belief and into resonance, aligning your thoughts, emotions, and intentions with what is yet to be seen. Faith rewires your nervous system to expect, receive, and embody the possibility of transformation even before the evidence appears. It creates a magnetic field that attracts what matches your inner certainty. This kind of faith is not blind or naive. It is rooted in knowing that the unseen is as real as the seen, and that your inner world creates your outer experience. Faith is the bridge between what is and what can be. It allows you to hold your vision steady amid doubt, to trust the timing of your life when impatience tempts you to give up. When you cultivate this faith, you are literally rewiring your brain to release patterns of fear and resistance and replace them with confidence and openness. Faith is also a daily practice. It grows stronger the more you consciously choose to focus on what you want rather than what you fear. It calls you to embody the feeling of already having what you desire, living as if the door has already opened. This energetic alignment primes your reality to respond. The deeper your faith, the more your body and mind come into coherence, and coherence is the key that unlocks manifestation. Without faith, the door remains closed not because it won't open, but because you're not yet vibrating at the frequency necessary to pass through. In this way, faith is the spiritual technology that prepares you to receive. It's not about waiting for a sign or proof outside yourself. It's about cultivating certainty inside. As your faith recalibrates, your life rearranges. The universe responds to the energy you hold, and the door opens when you are ready to step through with full trust and presence. Waking up to who you truly are is the greatest sign that divine timing is at work in your life. This awakening is not just an intellectual understanding. It's a deep, felt recognition of your own divinity, your connection to Source, and your inherent power to create. When you awaken, you no longer rely solely on external circumstances to validate your worth or guide your path. Instead, you tune into the inner knowing that you are already whole, already enough, and already connected to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all things. This awakening shifts your entire perception of time and possibility. You begin to see that life is not a series of random events, but a symphony of interconnected moments unfolding according to a divine plan. You become less reactive to setbacks and more receptive to lessons. You understand that delays or detours are not obstacles but part of the precise timing that prepares you to receive what you have been destined for. This trust in divine timing comes from a place of inner alignment, where patience and presence replace anxiety and doubt. As you wake up, you also awaken your creative power. You realize that your thoughts, emotions, and intentions shape your reality more profoundly than you ever imagined. This awareness empowers you to consciously choose your focus, to cultivate states of gratitude, joy, and expectation that magnetize your desires. You become an active participant in your own unfolding rather than a passive observer. This awakening transforms waiting into co-creation. Furthermore, waking up to your true self dissolves the illusion of separation. You recognize that the door you are waiting for has always existed within you. It's a doorway to your own expanded consciousness. When you align with this truth, you no longer chase external signs or seek permission from the outside world. Instead, you embody the frequency of the door opening, and in doing so, you step into the flow of divine timing effortlessly.